Hello and welcome to the 26th of February edition of the SIG Contributor Experience meeting. This meeting is under the Code of Conduct of the Kubernetes project, which in short basically means be nice and excellent to each other. I am your host for today. Is there anyone that wants to volunteer as a note taker? Otherwise, I will do it side by side. Please put yourselves into the attendees tab of the meeting docs that I will put in there. We also give the option for every new joiner or people to introduce themselves. I can quickly do this. Hi, I'm Mario. I am co-chair of SIG ContribEx, and pronouns are he, him. Anyone else who want to introduce themselves?
I can just do a one line because I don't join this one much often. Hi everyone, I'm Priyanka Sagu. I'm also one of the leads for SIG ContribEx, and yep.
All right. All right, then we have the first topic, which is events, which is Maintainer Summit, an update here. We are close to also getting sold out, which is nice. So we still have about 100 seats left, but it's looking good that Maintainer Summit will be also will be sold out. So if you haven't registered yet, register for Maintainer Summit. Beside this, the schedule is out on conference topics. We're looking for on conference topics. Only 3 have been submitted so far. There was a mail regarding the unconference post that was sent out to the mailing list. Anything else? Any questions regarding Maintainer Summit? Another thing that came up is that we are, please fill in this issue that I posted in the meet stock and here, if you're sick or you know of any sick that want to take part in the Kubernetes meet and greet and who will be present for this. The issue is linked in the doc. Any other topic regarding Maintainer Summit? Next up is no.
Yeah, there was a where's the social? Because I see that in the schedule, but it's not clear exactly how this is going to be on now.
The social will be at the venue.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oof.
Oh, why are we oofing?
Because socials at a conference hall are not really socials.
Well, yeah. I can't disagree with you on that one.
We don't have, or we didn't get any say in this, so.
They're way over budget for the London conference. It's a lot of what's driving a lot of these things, is that they're really trying to save money. So, London is expensive.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
And we had, but we have 2 sponsors for Maintainer Summit, which is nice.
Oh, good.
No, do you have your hand up again or still?
Yeah, sorry.
All right. Next up is mentoring. Anything new about mentoring, Josh? Probably.
Yeah, we put out a bunch of notices lately. CNCF has applied for Google Summer of Code and will probably be accepted unless Google cancels Summer of Code for some reason. And have pushed out a notice asking, SIGs if they have projects. We have enough across the CNCF for the initial application, but then there's this period before the initial application and sometime in mid-March when we have to have our final list of projects and mentors. The etcd SIG etcd is taking applications for its SIG mentorships. This is the second time we've done this. It's basically a mentorship cohort, only running slightly differently. It's something we started during the period when etcd was a separate project, and has been pretty successful at moving up contributors to be reviewers.
Have you gotten some people already for this, or that filled the form?
Oh, I haven't looked at the responses. I haven't looked actually.
Okay.
So I don't know. I think that's everything with mentorship for now. Nobody's seen. I should bug Sylvester because we really need to put a call out to the SIGs to do additional mentorship cohorts. I mean, obviously, anybody starting one would be starting one post KubeCon London, but there are lots of SIGs that could use more high-level contributors, and they're not going to just show up at random.
Yeah, Priyanka, you have your hand up.
Yeah, a bit unrelated, but something for you, Josh. So Nabarun and I were auditing the mentoring honors file, and you are not mentioned there. Neither is Sylvester, and other people who are involved in the sub-project. So we'll need your input if you can just audit it and let us know who should be part of the honors file. Yeah, because you are also not listed there, which
I
needs to be filled.
I bet the owner's file is Marty Era. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll paste a link which one I'm talking about.
Okay. Yeah, right now, unfortunately, I think it's just going to be me, Sylvester, and the ContribEx owners. So
yeah. So it's.
I wish I had more names to add to that, but that's it. Yeah. Well, actually, I might add Nate there as well.
Okay.
He's the mentoring person at CNCF.
Okay, so if you agree with yourself, Sylvester, Nate, we can send a PR for that along with ContribEx leads. Okay.
Yeah, well, let me go ahead. I'll just open a PR, and that way you can approve it, which is easier. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cool.
All right. Anything else regarding mentoring? If not, then comms. And luckily we have someone from comms here. And it's not me.
Yeah, so comms has been calming as usual. I just started a new job this week. Caslin just got back from Japan, so it's been kind of quiet the past couple of weeks. I was also on vacation, so I don't have much in terms of updates other than what's in the doc, which I need to review still, but doesn't look like a lot happened.
We sent it out comms regarding etcd mentorship program.
Yeah.
We send out comms about general CNCF mentorship program. We have still scheduled social or socials again as a reminder shortly before the ETCD deadline is approaching, and we need to start the social plan for KubeCon. And I don't know if we said it already, but we have now Blue Sky and Buffer.
Yes.
So we can basically send out any comms that go out to any other channel now can also go in an automated way to Blue Sky. So we should see the same activities for Blue Sky as for the other platforms.
Yeah, I just punched up Buffer and it looks like Twitter has disconnected our accounts somehow. I'm going to fix that right now.
Josh, you have your hand up.
Yeah. So since I never make it on Friday mornings, I kind of feel like we need a coordinating meeting for the developer blog, for the contributor blog, because articles for the contributor blog take forever. And it's because getting them edited and published is highly asynchronous, right? Like I'll edit an article and it'll hang out for a week, and then Tim will edit it, and then it'll hang out for a week. You know, I mean, it's basically taking like 4 months to publish an article in the contributor blog. And I'm thinking it might be a good idea to have regular coordinating meetings, because I can't think of any other way to actually speed that up.
I think a lot of that is just plates being full too. But I'm open to suggestions, and that sounds like
but I'll say also, as an approver for that blog,
right.
I do not have a clear picture of which blog posts are ready to go either.
Good point.
So like I'm on there and I'm looking at one and I'm like, is this ready to publish? Is it approved? Can I update the date and publish it? You know, or do I need to wait for something? And that's also making things slow.
Yeah, we try to track things for that blog in the overarching comms, you know, progress board, whatever you want to call it, Kanban board. But it's really Federico and a handful of us that are doing the majority of that work, including Tim, of course. Yeah, it is hard because a lot of the blogs require feedback from SIGs that are also busy. And yeah, it seems like the challenges have increased over the past maybe 4 to 5 months somehow. I don't know why. Industry stuff happening, could be anything. But yeah, they have slowed down.
You know, and look, I don't mind something being slow if it's not complete, right? What I'm worried about is the blog posts where the original author is pretty much done with their stuff, and the blog post is still hanging around unpublished for quite a while.
Yeah, that's no good.
Also, the other thing that's come up through some discussion with somebody who's wanted to make some contributions is we never published a blog post about the contributor awards. So there's also kind of a lack of targeting a blog post, if you follow me.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So, and maybe we should do this in the Friday morning meetings. Does Federico and Tim show up for the Friday morning meetings?
Federico does pretty consistently. Yep. Tim occasionally.
Okay.
But yeah, he's the comms blog lead and is always on top of things. It'd be great if we had more folks like him, though. I will say that.
Nabarun and Priyanka, you have also the annual report topic.
Yeah, just a reminder, the report is due in 2 days, and we don't have stats for contributor comms right now. Some of the bits I have written there, but if there is anything else also that folks from contributor comms want to highlight in the annual report, I will paste a link to the pull request as well there. You can directly add the input in the pull request.
I have added an agenda item in the open discussion, if that helps.
Okay. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Navarun.
All right. Then let's move it there. Anything else regarding contributor comms for now? If not, we will move on to contributor documentation. Does anyone have anything there? And potentially we should move ownership of this point away from Bob.
Yeah. Trying
Is
to
this
think
the
who.
Are you talking about
Right.
the contributor guide in K community?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
so this came up. Sorry,
go ahead.
this came
Sorry.
up in the audit that Priyanka and I did, and we were exactly of the same opinion. That in addition to Bob, at least the ContribEx leads should be part of the guide ownership so that they can also review pull requests, because currently it's a single person doing any kind of review or being assigned to do a review explicitly. So that needs to get resolved. Um, Bigger thing is we um, found a lot of things that we need to do as part of the owners updates across the projects. Some deprecation, some changes. I will create an issue with all those changes, and this is like a meta thing across contributors.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Next up is moderation and media. Anything in this part?
One of the items on Zoom is currently Zoom is owned by contributors at Kubernetes.io, and getting or like logging into it is a multi-step process because it is 2FA guarded by the contributors at Kubernetes.io root account email, and hence it creates a single person problem again here, that we won't be able to log in if neither of us has the passkey or access to the 2FA phone. So what I proposed was that we move Zoom ownership to a group called Zoom admins at the Kubernetes.io, which will have all the contributors leads plus anyone who is a Zoom admin. Right now, people who have raised hands are Paris, Nigel, and Bob, and it would be great to have them as well as part of the Zoom admins list, is because they have experience in running the Zoom maintenance across years, and they can transfer a lot of knowledge across time and teach others what goes on in maintaining our Zoom accounts. And then we can onboard new people.
Plus one
There's
on
a-
this. The question is then would we then use something like the one pass or the one pass key thing that you basically need to log in into one pass and then you get your token. I know that there's the functionality in one pass for this, or how would we solve the problem that it's that you need to have like this authenticator two-step login.
So Zoom would send a 2FA to the owning account, which is Zoom-admins, which is just a group, a private group with gated access. So anyone as part of the group would get that email.
Okay.
for
Yeah.
the login code.
Yeah.
So because we necessarily, when I talk to Bob, the Zoom account is not needed to be owned by a root account like we have for other infrastructure like Google Drive, which need to be owned by SC1, SC2, and SC3 as root accounts. So
Yeah.
we can remove that requirement, and we will create a new vault in Zoom most likely for the Zoom admins, and they can have the password to the Zoom account.
Yeah. All right. I haven't checked anything else to Zoom. Sorry. Anything regarding Slack?
There's a owners files thing going on. The Slack infra right now is heavily unmaintained with a lot of CVEs which were discovered in the code. One part of the reason that the code is unmaintained because it's working. It has not broken in the recent past, probably 4 years. I think the last commit was around half a decade back or something. When we audited the owners files, none of the owners are really active in the project, and most have moved away. So Ben started an issue in the Slack infra repo with this information, seeking people who can like join and maintain the repo. So the idea is that ContribEx TLs ideally plus people who volunteer to maintain that part of the code will be added as new owners. Ben also volunteered himself, and there are a few other people. I think
Yeah.
some people opted out as well. So we need to update the owners there. Start some sort of work on the Slack infra in terms of like a sub-project focus on like getting the CVs sorted if they're like really hard blockers.
So we're doing spring cleanup everywhere.
Yeah.
A lot of
I mean, to be
needed cleanup.
realistic with the Slack tooling, a lot of it was built around undocumented APIs from the early days of Slack, most of which are still working. But if they stop working because somebody at Slack finds them and turns them off, I don't know that there's a lot we can do about it. Because most of those APIs have no replacement, if you follow me.
Regarding YouTube, there was this was brought up by SIG release. They had the issue that their recordings have not been uploaded to the YouTube playlist. Nigel was supposed to work on this on Friday. I haven't checked back in if they have solved this. And I think there was also some other SIG that said also that their recordings are not being uploaded. But I need to double check. But in theory, this should have been solved now. But I will follow up on this. Anything else regarding YouTube, Slack, or Zoom? If not, we will move forward to GitHub management. Any additional GitHub management topics beside the ones that we have already discussed?
One of the topics that will come to the GitHub management people soon is auditing the Kubernetes GitHub orgs. Typically, we do it in January, but this time we are deferring it a little bit because of Maintainer Summit. Because the Maintainer Summit registrations are already going on. If somebody's removed from the org right now, they would be kind of in a limbo where They're not in the org, but they're coming to the maintainer summit, or if they're removed now, but they've already made plans. We don't want to mess with those things. So right after KubeCon, we will do the Kubernetes GitHub orgs audit and remove inactive members. Priyanka, I saw you unmuted yourself. Do you have things to add?
I was looking at the Slack. I remember Bob sharing we got some update from GitHub regarding the rule sets to apply some policies for at the enterprise level, but just for some specific repos. I'm not able to find a link to that. So when Slack comes back, maybe I'll update the document. This is related to a lot of issues we received on KORG. For example, Kubernetes client, there were many repos whose release tooling were broken because after we moved Kubernetes client under our Kubernetes enterprise account, the GitHub actions permissions were no longer the same. So yeah, this new feature from GitHub should help with that. But again, I have to wait for Slack to come back to find out the link shared by Bob. I'll put that later.
Oh no, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I'm wondering with the rule sets, do we have a better way to handle permission for the OCI repository per repository? Basically, currently, like it's not possible for a GitHub repo in the organization to define the policy for an OCI package. And so I'm wondering if like the rule sets recently introduced solve that problem, because I know in the past it was not possible for sub project to use GH GitHub Container Registry.
I have no idea. Honestly, I have to go check what rule sets are giving now. Nabarun, do you remember we allow packages on our GitHub repos? I think no, but I don't recall.
We don't. But that was like a 3-year problem,
Oh,
and I was like wondering if like GitHub made progress on that part where they basically say like for a org admin to delegate permission on a specific repo to allow publishing and container
okay.
container images.
Yeah. Okay. I'll take that as an item for us to first like check what all we can do with rule sets, and if there is such a use case coming. Do you have a use case already?
We
Regardless.
had I know in the past we had requests regarding this where basically when someone like is not willing to use the project infrastructure, but just basically want to like just use GitHub to publish the container images. So that will basically help Git Infra to reduce the burden regarding hosting container images.
Okay. I will take a note and then we'll check if rule sets help there. Yeah.
Thank you.
So that we have a better answer for whenever there is a new request like that coming. Okay. Thank you, Arno, for bringing up.
Hello, I'm just tuning in. So, how's it going?
Spring cleaning time.
Isn't it always?
Mm-hmm.
Is it ever not?
Okay, just to catch up, we were at GitHub management and I think we were done. unless we have any more questions for the GitHub management subproject. And then you can take over, Kathleen. Elections.
All right. Sounds like we can move on to elections then. I see Josh is on. Do you have any news about elections, Josh, or anyone to hand
Well,
it to?
The Code of Conduct Committee election is completed.
Right.
With the note that whoever is an election officer, even for something like that, really ought to actually look at the electo docs. Sorry, I got a panicked message about electo not displaying the results, and it was because they hadn't looked at the part of the docs that say that electo defaults to UTC, rather than your local time zone. Which it does. Sam has been working with me in Electo to build out the unit tests. Is currently working on unit tests specifically for case sensitivity, which is the #1 requested feature, or case insensitivity is the #1 requested feature. So hopefully we will get that done before the next steering committee elections. One of the other things I would suggest for ContribEx is something we brought up like years ago with elections and still haven't done, is really doing a drive for people to apply, qualified people to apply for org membership. Particularly qualified folks in Asia, because at least last time I checked, people who had a few merge PRs who were from Asia were a lot less likely to have gotten their org memberships, because they just didn't know about it or didn't see themselves as qualified. And that would be something that we would obviously want to do months before the cutoff for voters. I hope, if there's a maintainer summit for KubeCon India, then that should hopefully drive some people actually signing up, because it'll be more brought to their attention. But it might also be worth thinking about doing a campaign, particularly aimed at Asian contributors, where I see with the largest numbers of people who really ought to be applying for org membership.
Also, KubeCon Japan.
Yes, also KubeCon Japan. So we have lots of opportunities to promote this. We have lots of chances for people from Asia who contribute to Kubernetes to be thinking of themselves more as part of the contributor community. So it'd be good. So I want to put that as a to-do somewhere, because I don't know that I personally will have the energy to drive it.
Making a note.
Yeah.
Any questions, comments on that, or other election stuff? All right, noted then. Before we hop into open mic and discussion, since I just hopped in, I wanted to come back to one thing real quick, which is the Zoom item. There has been a discussion going on that in Slack. Just wanted to call out that plan sounds good, and I'm also on board with that. planning to try to help some folks get onboarded as Zoom admins in the next week or two. Moving into open mic and discussion, Arnaud and Justin.
Actually, I didn't add this item. I think Priyanka added it, but this is about the ongoing discussion about where we want to do maintainer tools. We have discussed this in the past. I think some people on GitHub suggested that we should circle around all the SIGs again. I did then go talk to architecture. They were very welcoming. They've started adding their wish list. They're all maintainers, I guess, is the thing. They started adding their wish list to a doc. They asked for a doc where they could add their wish list. I think they all feel like it's Christmas, and they would like to cash in their Christmas checks. So that is positive. But yes, I don't know if I would feel bad if we said that maintainers were not contributors and therefore does not go under, at least SIG ContribEx have some participation in that. So, but yeah, that's where we are.
Okay, so I don't know where to start. There is an issue linked there. This is 8297 Kubernetes community. This one is particularly for requesting a new repo, I think. And you mentioned 2 meetings from past, Jan 15, Jan 20. So Jan 22 was run by me, and I think the issue was the outcome of that. Jan 15, I read through the notes, and I think it was a discussion around the new working group. And if I understand correctly, Caslin, that's the same working group discussion we also had in our leads.
I believe so.
Meeting. Yeah. The open question after all those discussion is who will be the owner of the effort or the source code that will be coming out of this activity. And there is a lot of discussion on this issue 8297 again. At this point, I think we are at a conclusion. At least one thing is clear. Justin, Arno, you don't need admin access to any repo, right? I think Justin, you confirmed that in one of the comments.
I don't think we have any reason to, yeah.
Yeah. So since that is not the case, and I saw another comment from Ben that if there is no admin permissions required, then K-test infra experiments would be a better place to place the source code coming out of this activity. Is that a mutual understanding?
I think he asked the question. Yes, going on now.
Yeah, so we talked to SIG testing, and basically from Ben's comments, one of the aspects of what we want to work on is under the scope of SIG testing. So basically there's a +1 to host one part of the one thing we do and the test infra repo, which doesn't basically need admin access. So I think basically in the initial issue there are multiple conversations. The one thing is like for one of the tooling, we go to SIG testing. For the other aspect or the problem we're trying to achieve, we need to talk to SIG architecture and basically come up with a one-pager document proposing what we're trying to achieve and get dedicated repo to make more progress. Because we're trying to tackle the maintainer/contributor experience, which is as an umbrella of like multiple issue. So there's like, it's not one solution for everything, but like trying to basically build up multiple solutions under some kind of AI platform-ish, if possible. So in order to do that, we basically need to like build multiple components. So I would say our first of us success in this mission is basically the texting agreeing on basically hosting one component, and the rest is basically we need to like figure out how we want to basically make progress based on the wish list proposed by SIG architecture. That's it.
To Priyanka.
Yeah, I'm happy there is a document now, because this is a running thing for me. I don't understand the scope of this activity well at the moment. So now that we are documenting it and there is a wish list, that will help to understand what kind of source code, or what kind of effort that will be coming out of this activity, and will help decide which SIGs should be owning this or co-owning this. Some of the PRs, Justin, you already have created on SIGs maintainers. I think some of those are already falling under SIG architecture. Ben has described very nicely in some of the comments on K community issue, again 8297. Some of it fall under testing, and then of course all of it is ContribEx. So maybe ContribEx would have a say as well here. So what my take here is we wait till we get some comments and review of this document, and then we decide which SIGs should be owning this. But for now, for all the code that you are working on, Justin, maybe that could go into K-test infra experiments if Arno, you said Ben agreed to that in SIG testing meeting. I have no idea if that's
In the
already agreed
issue,
upon.
you've checked the issue. There's a comment by Ben saying basically
Yeah,
SIG testing / kits infra should own something like this.
yeah,
So
yeah.
the location is not really a problem for us right now.
Okay. Well, yeah, I haven't read the document, this wish list document, so I'll also read through it tomorrow and maybe comment on it from ContribEx side.
To Justin.
Yeah, I mean, that document is for SIGArch. We knew from the start this was going to be like something which touched a lot of SIGs because every SIG has maintainers. Obviously, this felt like the right SIG, but SIG architecture, get it immediately. They don't have any problem with creating a repo. We can do that. We can go from there. If SIG ContribEx wants to be involved, we can talk about a working group. But I think it's a sad state of affairs that it takes months to create a repo, but we can move forwards and hopefully improve that experience over time.
Moving on to our last item of discussion in open mic. The annual report for SIG ContribEx is up for review. There's a note here about an audit on the owner's files for each area in SIG ContribEx. Priyanka, do you want to speak to that at all?
I think it's a repeat, so but since Navarun added it, I'll let him speak. Yeah.
The topic is just as what is written. On the open discussion item, there's not much intricacy to it other than what we have discussed already in the room. So it's an FYI item for anyone who has done something in ContribEx or knows what did ContribEx do. If anything is missing in the report, please feel free to comment on the PR and help us update it. That's the overall PSA.
All right, then. We have 10 minutes left. Are there any other open mic or discussion items or any questions, comments on the annual report for SIG ContribEx?
Josh, I think you have an item on the chat.
Yeah, sorry, I should have added this under Slack earlier. I just wanted to add that. Hold on. We don't yet have anybody who wants to work on doing mass delete of inactive Slack accounts, and it's still the case that Kubernetes users isn't letting anybody in unless somebody voluntarily leaves.
Wait, so we're at a cap on the number of people in Kubernetes Slack? Is that what I just heard?
In one channel.
Yeah.
It's been an
Oh.
issue for about 4 months. The 5
Yeah.
months, something like that. Basically, there is an undocumented, but you have to admit not terribly unreasonable cap of 100,000 people in one channel. And Kubernetes users is at that, and therefore people can't join. There isn't any documented API in Slack by which we can systematically delete inactive users. So doing so requires an exploration of the undocumented APIs, which is why there haven't been any volunteers for it. Because it's going to be fairly time consuming for somebody, and also very delicate because there's no way to test it except in production. One possibility I think we should maybe entertain, given that this is not being solved anytime soon, is starting a Kubernetes users too. And at least that way people have a channel they can join. Now, Barun?
Josh, one quick question. Is there any way, I'm just throwing in ideas, I just thought of something that we can do. Is there any way that we can know the activity log of users in our Slack instance? Like dev stats, something like, hey, can I know like what were the users who were at any point in time active in the last 1 year? For an example.
Not until somebody builds a tool. Right now, the
But
only thing
is
we
there
have is the Slack admin console, which actually does give us information. But in the Slack admin console, we are strictly limited to deleting users one at a time.
Okay, is there an API which gives me all the active users? Because I see there's an API which lets
no documented API does. We based on our previous work and our the code and Slack repo and Catherine's work, we believe that there's probably undocumented stuff, but it's going to require some work to figure it out.
Okay, so just throwing out an idea. I'll just take 1 minute here. I saw that Slack is a conversations kick API. So I was wondering, instead of going through the route of deactivating Slack accounts right away, if we can get the activity and then remove any account from Kubernetes users who have not been active in Kubernetes Slack in the last 1 year, maybe it alleviates some problem. I fully foresee that even running conversations.kick for each user account which is inactive is going to be a lot of pain because of Slack API limits. But it's still something that we can work with, a long running script which keeps running. Obviously, we can discuss this off the call in some thread as well.
I think what you're proposing is exactly what we already want. It's just somebody needs to work on it, and it's going to be a heavy lift for whoever that person is.
Oh, I actually thought like you want us to like remove the user accounts from the Slack instance and not just the channel.
Oh, no, we want to remove the user from Slack, period. But the same tooling is required either way.
Yeah, agreed. I'm just proposing that we remove them from the channel as a short-term measure to alleviate the immediate problem.
But we don't have any way to do that either, so I don't see why.
I
don't see how that
API.
solves the problem. What?
No, there's a kick API. You give it the channel ID and the user ID, and they get removed. So we can call that API loop over all the inactive accounts, which points me to my first question on: do we have any process of knowing if someone is inactive or a list of inactive users?
No, that tool needs to be built.
Okay, cool. That answers the question. Justin?
I was just going to ask: is there currently a read-only view of Kubernetes users? I know in the past we had one, but is there any way that people can read it without being a member of the channel?
I think since we are on Slack Enterprise, we did not do the archive bot or something, because we like Slack gave us essentially something which is unlimited. But I might be wrong in there. Someone who was there before Enterprise kicked in might have an answer, because without Enterprise, it's just 3 months of catalogs.
I mean, I was just thinking, like, rather than the stick, the carrot, right? Like, create the log, point out that it's a better view for people that want to read. They can always join the channel when they want to, and ask people to just to remove themselves if they're the 90% of people that read and don't post type thing.
That would be good. It also occurs to me, based on your request, that we do have a simple thing we can do, which is we could make a channel announcement in Kubernetes users and ask people who don't read and don't post to leave the channel. Because if we could get 1,000 people leaving the channel, then that would buy us some breathing room. I have a feeling that just means that in 4 months we'd be in the same place, but the at least it would do that. Is there like a standard tool for giving people the ability to read a channel they haven't joined?
There are archiving tools, which communities who don't have access or can pay for Enterprise, they used to keep Slack chat archives.
I'm trying not to get nervous tonight, but I am certainly of the group that would not want to read every post in Kubernetes users, but would love to get a AI summary occasionally type thing, right? That's much more me than, like, I don't find high traffic Slack channels to be useful, to be honest.
Same.
I know I would personally go leave that channel right now if I'm in it, if I could, if Slack wasn't down.
Yeah, I would say today is not the day to do this. So as a request from ContribEx, and of course I'm going to let the other Slack admins know about it, but is there any problem with my doing the channel announcement and just say, hey, channel, if this is the first thing you have read in this channel in the last 6 months, could you maybe leave?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, no objection from me. Just one comment. Yeah, Kubernetes user is not for maybe people like us. It is for new users. So we are looking at more and more new people joining. That's a problem I have.
Yeah, but like the Slack admins need to be in the channel. ContribEx leads should be in the channel. So there's a bunch of us who need to be in the channel administratively.
Kathleen, stay there.
Darn it. Can't be helpful in that way. Well, once Slack is back up, we will make some progress on that. And we are basically at time. So thank you everyone for joining today. We'll catch you all not on Slack for a bit, but eventually. Bye.